On October 24th, 2023, people went to bed that night in beautiful Acapulco, a city of over 1 million people, probably after enjoying the usual spectacular sunset. Those that had checked a weather report earlier knew that there could be a tropical storm that night. Otis was a tropical storm with 70 per mile hour winds at 10 a.m. But just 13 hours later at 11 p.m., it was a Category 5 hurricane with 165 mile per hour winds. The city woke up in shock as the Category 5 hurricane hit Acapulco in full force at 1:25 a.m. Only a small handful of people noticed the storm intensifying and turning into this monster that was about to hit Acapulco. With full force that would later be called the strongest storm in recorded history to hit the Mexican Pacific coast. It was too late to warn people, and when people woke up to the 165 mile per hour winds, they were left defenseless to fend for themselves as their houses literally broke apart around them. The word that I heard to describe the scene most often was terror. There was one guy I do know of in Acapulco, though, that realized things had suddenly changed and had taken a dramatic turn for the worse, and he said this online shortly before the hurricane hit. At 9 p.m. at night, he had reported online to the Acapulco community that this storm was turning into a Category 4 and warned the people of Acapulco to remain vigilant, but it seemed that they were possibly going to dodge a bullet as the storm was headed west of Acapulco. But then only 1 hour later, he jumped back online and had this to say, that the storm had grown into a Category 5 and was going to be a direct hit on Acapulco. And he said, "Oh my God, get out if you can." This last-minute statement online was noticed by a few people who managed to take last-minute precautions and could have easily saved some lives. One guy in Acapulco that I know had finished renovating his dream home there after 2 years and had just celebrated by having a big party by the pool with his friends, only to endure the full wrath of Otis 2 days later, obliterating his new home around him, while he and his wife and his 3 small dogs, they had to hide under a staircase to survive, while the rising water was filling up around them in the house. They were totally terrified. So many people had their homes completely ruined, losing everything, barely escaping with their lives. And it sounded like a lot of people were crying during this whole ordeal and crying out to God to save them. I'm going to read you some of the comments. Many did not escape with their lives. The death toll that was reported was that 52 people died, with 30 missing. But some people on the ground there estimate the dead could easily have been 20 times that number. I contacted a few people that I was worried about in Acapulco and found out that all of them did live through the ordeal. Thank God, Peter and I and our 3 dogs had moved from Acapulco a year earlier. When I first contacted my friend Mary Luz, who lived in the same building we were in, she said that she and her family were in Mexico City when the hurricane hit. But when I inquired about the sweet workers in the building, she told me that they had very little food or water, and the 2 of them had been missing the whole week. A brother and sister who worked there, and they were some of my favorite people. I felt so sick when I heard that. I remember them giving me coconuts that they had chopped open with water, and sometimes bringing mangoes to Peter and I. They were just so adorable. But thank God they turned up alive. I just felt so relieved. My friend, she also sent me a video of her apartment, and although all the glass was blown out and things had been thrown around, it seemed to have fared much better than a lot of other people's apartments did. Literally, from what I could see of different footage of Acapulco, the glass blew out, and the sliding glass doors or balconies, all of the glass blew out in every single building of the city. It was unbelievable devastation. My former landlord also sent me a video of the outside of the building that we had lived in, and structurally that one actually held up well, as it had done a couple of years earlier when a 7.4 earthquake hit. So it was really well designed, that particular building. I also contacted our former taxi driver, Daniel, that we used to use most of the time we were there. And he said, "Good morning, Miss Marianne. Everything is fine. Thank God. We lost some things at home, but everything is fine. Greetings and a big hug. Greetings to Mr. Peter. We are fine, thank God." And a guy who had driven us from Acapulco to San Miguel de Allende when we moved, he had this to say: "It was really terrible, but thanks to God we are alive. We lost everything. We start from zero. Happy New Year. I'm praying every single day for my family, my friends, and myself." Lives were impacted in such a huge way. I'm not mentioning too many names in this video, as most people have requested to remain anonymous, with the exception of one lady I know by the name of Tico, and I will tell you her story. Tico, she's a real estate agent in Acapulco. I had spoken to her briefly when Peter and I had arrived in Acapulco, and she actually became a Facebook friend. She struck me as a very nice, genuine person. She was also caught totally unaware, and the hurricane hit with such suddenness and intensity and force that she was unable to even move herself and her little dog into a safer place in her beautiful apartment, which overlooked Acapulco Bay. She was knocked out unconscious on the floor. A door had fallen on her, and she was bleeding heavily, and she saw all this furniture go flying out the window of her 7th-floor apartment building, and even like big file cabinets from her bedroom went flying out, along with her refrigerator. Unbelievable. And she looked over on the floor in the hallway and saw her little dog, and she thought the dog had died. And then I think she lost consciousness. But thank God, the little dog survived, which is unbelievable. And she actually has her family watching it in Puebla, Mexico right now, because she's trying to put the pieces of her broken apartment back together. But this is her story, and this is what she said about the night. "This hurricane was devastating. The loss of our Acapulco is so very sad. I have traveled to Acapulco since 1971 and had been living here for 40 years in my home. Blessings to all of us who have experienced this hurricane. I lost my entire condo. The refrigerator went out the window. All the windows exploded. I lost most of the inside of the condo, all the files in my office, All closets went flying out the window. My living windows are very large, maybe 20 feet, and I have 2 windows this side. Not much was left. Most was destroyed. Not one of my paintings were saved. The whole kitchen is gone. All the windows exploded. The bedroom doors went out the window. My office bedroom is empty, except that all of my paper files are like what looks like snow on the floor. My office metal file cabinet and office desk are gone, out the windows. I have large bedroom windows about 9 feet wide in 2 of these windows, so this was enough space for furniture to fly out the windows. It was like a bomb went off. The ceiling fell down, lamps out of sockets hanging in hallways, half-broken doors in bedrooms, and doors gone out the window. I have 3 bedrooms and a large hallway and an open kitchen to the living and dining room. All is damaged, all is gone. Check out my Facebook and see the video on my Facebook page, or look at my brother Bob Ayul's video of the destruction. All were destroyed, and my car had all the windows blown out and huge dents. My injuries. I was trapped by the door of the office. I was hoping to get some items out of the office, and to my surprise, the wind sped up and all the windows were blowing in, and I was knocked down between the door with half my leg inside the office from the knee to the feet, and my other side outside the door in the hallway from the knee up to my head. I was now lying in the hallway, locked down as the force of the wind had thrown me down. I hit the floor in the hurricane as I was going to a safe zone. I never made it to the safe zone and was locked with part of my leg on one side of the door to the office and part in the hallway, trying to hold on to the door so that I didn't blow out the windows. Terrifying. I was down for more than 1 hour, trapped, and my legs were getting cut from the wind with the pressure on my legs, bleeding. Then I cried out to God and said I was going to die. Then I pushed my leg more against the door, and it opened about 1.5 inches, and I was able to get my leg out. But then I passed out in 3 inches of glass and water. When I woke up, I heard this noise from the ceiling. The inside of the ceiling was falling in on me. I was lucky. It hit the side of my head only, but I covered myself. I ended up with a concussion and cuts on my arms. The good thing was that I didn't have any thick glass hit me. In the morning, neighbors were checking on me. I had this huge infection for 5 days, and neighbors knew how sick I was by the time my brother, Bob Ayul, located where I was and what condition I was in. And the 3 arranged for me to go to Mexico City. Now I remember, all the gas, water, and lights were out in the evening of the hurricane, and I couldn't walk. I crawled to the bedroom, about 9 feet from the hallway, and pushed myself in a corner of the bed and pushed the glass away. And in that state, I vomited from shock and could not walk. So I was lucky to find a wastebasket, and this was used for bathroom too, until the neighbors on the 2nd floor came and cleared out the hallway of glass so that I could get to the bathroom. And they brought me food and drinks as well. I ended up in Mexico City emergency. I was very seriously hurt. I now can walk, and my large cuts are healing. My infection throughout my entire body is clearing up. I lost a lot of blood. It was extreme. I know I was very seriously hurt. I can now walk, and the cuts are healing. I know that God saved me as I cried out to him to release the pressure on my leg so I could get my leg out of the trap. I am lucky. I lost all. God bless all. God saved me. It's now the next day, February 21st, 2024. And I was in contact with Tico briefly today. And this is what she had to say. Little by little, feeling a little more calm. But I have such post-traumatic stress, and I am grateful to God. So many sad stories of families losing family members. This is a huge disaster. I live in one little bedroom, and it is fine now. I have put tarps on all the windows. So apparently Tico, she was able to afford to put glass back in her bedroom windows, but not in the rest of the apartment yet. So she's got tarps up. And I was thinking yesterday when I was recording this on her story that she would have such huge post-traumatic stress, and this is exactly what she said today. I also can't help thinking, she said that she knows so many sad stories of, people losing family members. I think the death toll was a whole lot bigger than what they reported. I bet it was huge. Just looking at the devastation, how could people live through this? So a lot of people are saying, actually, that the storm was not natural, which is interesting. I think that it sounds like Tico still needs help. If you want to, you can go to her brother's GoFundMe page. Her brother's name is Bob Aul, A-U-L, and I think he's located in Minnesota, so you can look for his page. He has her picture and a GoFundMe account. It's on the very top of his page. It's pinned there, so I think this woman sounds like she can use a bit of help. And you could also contact Tico, probably by her own Facebook page. You can find her in Acapulco. I'm just going to read you one other brief comment that a guy left online, and he's given me permission to read this. I went to Acapulco, so sad to see the devastation and the desperation by the locals after Hurricane Otis hit as a Category 5. It's like you're in Iraq. Many people are leaving as they know there will be no tourists, which means no money, which means no food. This city is going to die or take years to come back, as many tourists and local people will have found other places to go. It's sad to see people waving bottles along the highway in and out of Acapulco, pleading for safe drinking water and a meal. I saw a horse dead along the highway, with many more animals likely to die, not being able to get water or food. Now, he had posted this shortly after the hurricane, so I think he went there about a month later. I'm hoping, that things are a whole lot better now, but even from what Tico said, I think it's going to take a while for Acapulco to get back on its feet. One really sad thing in Acapulco, when this hurricane hit, there were a whole bunch of boats that were sunk in the harbor, and there were men on these boats taking care of them. And they didn't want to leave the boat because it was their job to, guard the boat and stay there. So they died on these boats, many men. It was horrible, absolutely terrible. So Acapulco, it has a very sad story now in its history, and let's just hope that it can recover. It's going to take time, and there's really nothing that we can do except support the people that we know and try and help them as best that we can.